Please state your name for the record.
My name is James Beer.
Mr. Beer, what do you do?
I am a detective for the Liquor Control Board, the Illegal Liquor Control Board.
Why are you here today?
I am here because I cited the defendant in the case.
Had you ever met the defendant before?
I had met the defendant before.
Under what circumstances?
The defendant sold alcohol to a person who was then issued a DUI, and so I met him in that context.
So I'll come back to that, but first I want to get into what you do. How long have you been an investigator?
I've been an investigator for 20 years.
What kind of experiences have you had as an investigator?
I have...
Objection calls for narrative.
Overruled.
I have been an inspector for I often cite people who are selling illegal or selling alcohol to people who are drunk.
So based on your experience, what are some telltale signs of someone being drunk?
I have a long background in recognizing people who are drunk. They are often stumbling, they have bleary eyes, they fail sobriety tests.
Before you had this job, had you ever seen anyone intoxicated before?
Of course, everyone has.
What kind of signs could you tell, based on what they were doing? How could you tell that they were drunk?
They were stumbling, they smelled like alcohol, especially if you're talking about someone who's drunk, they have bleary eyes, etc.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you sometimes stop people and you perform field tests. What kind of tests do you perform to tell if somebody's drunk?
I will often have them, walk on the line. I'll have them say something quickly. I'll have them breathe into a breathalyzer sometimes.
Okay, I want to move us forward to the night in question, June 5th. What were you doing on that night?
I was driving around with my partner, and we received a call. We ended up outside of Rate Liquor, and because there had been some drunk people around.
So can you describe the store from your point of view? And what I'd actually like to do now, if I can, is have you be the patrol car that you were parked in, and have a street running this way, and have a street running this way, and then if you could just tell me where, so I'm the store in this scenario, so if you could just tell me where to stand.
Yeah, sure. If you could stand where you are.
Okay.
And I was parked right about here, and I was driving, so I could you were right there. I merely had to turn and could see Rate Liquor.
Thank you. So did anything unusual happen when you were parked outside Rate Liquor?
It did. I was parked there, and I saw a man stumbling around, and he appeared to be intoxicated. It seemed suspicious to me, and like other people I've dealt with before.
So even before you had this job, if you saw somebody like the person who was walking across the street, what would you think?
He was highly intoxicated.
Now, this person that you saw, was he carrying anything that you could tell?
That I could tell, I believe he was carrying, I don't exactly recall, I believe he was carrying, no, actually no, he wasn't carrying anything at that point.
So what happened after he stumbled across the street?
He looked like he tripped or something happened, but he was definitely stumbling as he crossed the street, and then he kind of heeled forward and then straightened himself. And he was approaching the store, and at that point he kind of got himself together and walked in the door. That's what I saw.
So once he entered the store, what did you see after that?
I saw him go behind the counter, I saw Dan Jones, I saw him leave he left my field of vision. He appeared to go kind of out of the picture and back behind the counter where he was serving, and then came back and appeared to sell liquor to the trunk.
So after he appeared to sell liquor, what did you do after that?
After that, I walked out of my car and approached the store. I performed a field sobriety test on the drunk.
Can you, before you get into the sobriety test that you conducted, can you just describe, because presumably you were standing fairly close to him, can you describe what he looked like, what he smelled like?
Sure. He smelled like alcohol. He clearly had been drinking for a long time. All the people that I deal with who end up being drunk smell this way. They smell very intoxicated, like they've been drinking for a long time, kind of stale. His eyes were very bleary. He appeared to be slurring his words. He couldn't stand upright. He was kind of all over the place. So.
About how far away from him were you when you were conducting your field tests and just talking to him?
I was maybe, normal distance, comfortable distance, maybe a couple feet.
Did you ask him how he had gotten the alcohol?
Jackson calls me to say.
Sustained.
It's time.